I feel like I would be a really good ref, though, from the side.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't miss the call.
Backseat ref.
When the WNBA's brightest star goes down and the league carries on as if nothing happened, the cracks start to show. Caitlin Clark has finally broken her silence in an unfiltered, emotional conversation with Sue Bird, her most candid interview yet. For the first time, she opened up about the mental and physical toll of being thrown into her 30th game with barely any preparation, and how that moment gave her a newfound appreciation for the quiet battles her injured teammates have fought all along. She didn't hold back about the psychological strain of watching from the sidelines as league viewership took unexpected turns during her absence. In laying bare her vulnerability, Clark exposed not just the personal cost of her injury, but also the uncomfortable reality of how heavily the WNBA leans on her star power. It raises urgent questions. Should the league be doing more to protect its athletes, or will it continue operating like everything is fine? Clark's injury didn't come with warning signs, it struck suddenly, beginning with a preseason quad injury that instantly reshaped her rookie season.
Challenging part of like all this. So obviously I have the first injury and I sit out 4 games and then I come back and I play really well.
Yeah.
And I feel really good. And like even just begin the year, like I played great. Like I started the year really good. Like I felt really great. Like my numbers were great. I was shooting the ball well. And then I get hurt and it's like, okay, like you got to get healthy, whatever. You're like, I'm going to do whatever I can, you know, to get back to what I was doing. And
From May 28th to June 10th, she was sidelined with a quad strain, missing 5 key games. Then came another blow, a left groin injury that took her out of 4 regular season matchups in the Commissioner's Cup final between June 26th and July 5th. But it was the right groin injury on July 15th that truly shattered her resolve, the breaking point in a season plagued by relentless stop and start chaos. This wasn't just about physical setbacks. The uncertainty gnawed at her mentally in ways she never anticipated. A player who never missed a game in college was now grappling with the harsh reality of the pro level's unforgiving toll. In her raw sit-down with Sue Bird, Clark didn't sugarcoat it. It's not like I had a training camp. You're just thrown into game 30. No ramp up. You just have to trust your body and pray it doesn't fall apart. Each return to the court came with the same haunting question. Could her body keep up, or would it fail her again? The physical pain was one thing. The mental toll, the constant second guessing, was something else entirely. Then came the message that stopped her in her tracks. A text from her mom. You've spent so much time doing everything for everyone else. Maybe it's time to do something for yourself.
Sales are like up across the WNBA, and then and they're also, when you don't play, there's a dip, like a substantial dip. So how do it impact your patience? You know what I mean? Like you're coming back from this injury and you know this, everybody knows this, that when you play that changes.
Yeah.
I guess the better question is, how are you like managing it so it doesn't impact your patient?
Those words hit Clark harder than any defender ever could. For the first time, the push to return to the court wasn't just about basketball. It was about choosing her own well-being over the relentless expectations placed on her. That moment marked a shift. She began to see her role through a different lens. Not just as the face of a franchise, but as a human being navigating the cost of carrying a league. And the numbers? They told a truth no one in the WNBA could ignore. The Fever were simply better with Clark on the floor, posting an 8-5 record with her, compared to 0-4 without her. Her presence didn't just influence the energy, it impacted the outcome. When Clark was sidelined, the ripple effect went far beyond Indiana. Attendance dipped, TV ratings dropped, her absence echoed across the league, proof that her value wasn't just hype, it was measurable, visible,
early on,
undeniable.
with the first couple injuries, I was like, oh, like I need to get back. But I think like my mom texted me like after this last injury, and like they know how hard it's been on me, but my mom was like, you know, you've taken so much time for everybody else, like you have to take time for yourself now. So just trying to do that the best I can.
The May 17th Sky vs. Fever showdown drew a staggering 2.5 million viewers, one of the WNBA season's marquee moments. But without Clark and other marquee names on the court, ratings on ABC barely cracked 1.5 million. At the same time, the Fever were fighting tooth and nail for a playoff spot, without their lead scorer and playmaker. Injuries ravaged the roster, at times leaving Indiana with just 9 active players. League rules around hardship signings left the team with limited options, forcing them to stretch thin in ways no playoff hopeful should. For Clark, the chaos was a revelation. The experience gave her a newfound respect for every teammate who had quietly battled through injuries long before her own setbacks. But more than that, it sharpened her awareness of how deeply the league relies on her presence, not just for highlights, but for ratings, energy, and competitiveness. Without her lightning-fast scoring and precise surgical passing, the Fever offense stalled. It became slower, more predictable, easier to defend. Her absence wasn't just felt,
Been like the
it was
hardest
glaring.
part has just been like the stop and go of everything. Like, and also like with the type of injuries that I've dealt with, like there's no real, it's not like 6 weeks. All right, you're coming back for the Connecticut Sun game on August
all about how you feel
30th
in the moment.
or whatever. It's like, how do you feel? Like, and even like when I have been back, like I don't know how I'm going to feel the next day after playing, like when you're dealing with like these type of injuries. So I think just like the patience of dealing with all of that and giving myself a lot of grace and just trying to be the
With Clark sidelined, teammates were thrust into roles they weren't quite ready for, and the Fever's 5th place standing felt like it was hanging by a thread every time she sat out. Up until then, Clark had kept quiet publicly, choosing professionalism over provocation. But when she sat down with Sue Bird, all of that changed, and the league office wasn't prepared for what came next. Sue asked about her sideline coaching during games she missed. Clark smirked and then dropped the hammer. "I was more so coaching the refs," she said, letting the words hang in the air. Then came the knockout line. "I'd make a good ref." I wouldn't miss a call. It wasn't just a mic drop moment, it was a direct shot across the bow at league headquarters. This wasn't some throwaway quip from a frustrated rookie. Clark's timing was surgical. Her comment landed in the middle of one of the most hotly debated seasons in recent WNBA memory, when officiating had already become the league's worst-kept secret. Coaches had voiced their frustrations. Players had risked fines to speak up. And then Clark, the league's biggest draw, the face on every billboard, chose her moment. Delivered with a sharp blend of humor and conviction, her words couldn't be dismissed as petty complaints. She wasn't griping about missed calls in her favor. She was calling out the system. And this time, everyone was listening.
well, like I'm gonna go to every road game no matter what, like whether I'm playing or not. Like, and it's hard because obviously I do feel this like responsibility of like being out there and playing, and like, not that I like think there's like a fear of any of this ever going away. Like that doesn't happen when like LeBron or Steph get hurt. Like they're always going to be there.
No,
like, you
you'll be
know,
back.
yeah, exactly. So, but like you do want to play, like you want to give people something to cheer about or scream about, or, you know, people spend so much time and money and resources to come.
Clark's words carried weight because of more than just her status. It was her basketball IQ. She'd studied the film. She knew what a foul looked like, understood positioning and contact at a level that surpassed most players, even veterans. This wasn't heat of the moment frustration. It was a calculated truth delivered with purpose. From the bench, she'd watched her teammates get clobbered without a single whistle. She saw patterns. How different games were called, which officials let things slide, and how the inconsistency affected outcomes. After enduring her own share of hard fouls, some of which she called cheap shots, she'd had enough. That offhanded comment about becoming a ref wasn't just shade, it was part of a deeper current, a wave of frustration that's been building in the league for years. Players have whispered about inconsistent officiating behind closed doors. But Clark, she put a megaphone to it, and the league office noticed. When their brightest star publicly questioned the integrity of the game, even subtly, it couldn't be brushed off. Clark's comments didn't just spark conversation. They ignited the internet. The clip trended instantly, triggering debates on social media, in studios, and across locker rooms. She didn't just call out the refs. She cracked open a conversation the league could no
I think
longer
that's
avoid.
also been really good for me too, is like when I do go out before games and like sign autographs and like see all the young kids or fans or whoever's come to the games, like it just like gives me a really good perspective on everything, and maybe gives me a little bit of motivation and just being thankful for everything that I have, like, and very thankful for like my fans and just the fans of the WNBA, of like how they can constantly continue to support and truly just want the best for me too at the end of the day. Like, you know, I think
Clips from Clark's interview with Sue Bird started spreading within minutes. Timelines flooded with debates. Had she crossed a line, or had she just said what everyone else was too afraid to admit? Inside the league, it was chaos. Executives scrambled in group chats trying to decide if this was a full-blown PR crisis or a viral spark they should lean into. Some worried she just opened the door for more stars to call out officiating on record. Others, behind closed doors, admitted she wasn't wrong. The media moved fast. Headlines branded her both a fearless truth teller and a rebel unafraid to challenge authority. Sports talk shows looped her "I wouldn't miss a call" line like it was a buzzer beater, breaking it down frame by frame. Behind the scenes, players from across the league flooded her DMs. Some thanked her, others cheered her on. One veteran reportedly told her, "You just said out loud what we've been screaming in locker rooms for years." And the fans? They were all in. Her smirk, her timing, the slight pause before delivering that knockout line, every moment became meme-worthy gold. Social media ran wild, turning a sideline quip into a full-blown movement. But here's the kicker. This wasn't just a viral moment, it was a warning shot. By publicly questioning the league's officiating, Clark forced a reckoning. Refs, coaches, and execs had a choice: defend the status quo or finally admit change was long overdue. And once that conversation begins, there's no going back.
I think just how much I was getting pressured. Like, it was just like constant full court. And also, I think as the season went on, like, that chilled out as much. Like, it's hard to like want to do that an entire season. Like, teams like, you don't want to pick up 94 feet the entire season. Like, that's just hard.
The WNBA's response? Silence. And that silence was deafening. No public statement, no league memo, no acknowledgement that their biggest star had just called out officiating on national platforms. But behind the scenes, the temperature was rising. Some league executives reportedly wanted to pull Clark aside, quietly remind her to keep certain criticisms in-house. Others warned that trying to muzzle her would only make things worse. Clark wasn't the type to take a corporate warning, smile for the cameras, and fall in line. If anything, it would light another fire. The referees' union, according to insiders, was far from amused. Whispers circulated that some officials felt personally disrespected. But even as tension simmered, sources close to the league admitted what many already suspected. Clark's critique wasn't coming out of nowhere. The data told its own story. Growing inconsistencies in foul calls, disparities across teams and markets, and a lack of accountability that players had quietly complained about for years. And thanks to social media, the story didn't die down. It expanded. Clips, takes, memes, and debates kept the conversation alive for days. What started as one comment in a sit-down interview had evolved into a league-wide reflection, and a reckoning the WNBA could no longer afford to ignore. This year,
like, it's just been so challenging, like, being active and playing 4 games and then not, and like not feeling the best, and then like frustrated of like how hard I worked in the off season, and then like all I do is rehab and like continue to do this process, and just like trying to trust that the best I can. And obviously there's really frustrating.
Hashtags like #, Clark was right, and #, fix. The whistle started trending. Every questionable call in other games had fans tagging her name, asking what she thought. Like it or not, Clark had become the unofficial face of the WNBA's officiating debate. And the fever? They were caught in the crossfire. Coaches were fielding questions about her comments instead of game strategy. Teammates backed her in interviews, calling her fearless and loyal, someone willing to speak up not just for herself, but for the entire locker room. By week's end, it was clear. This wasn't just about one interview. Clark had ignited something bigger. A conversation that had lived in whispers behind closed doors was now dominating national headlines. The league had a choice: fix the problem or brace for more public heat from the one star they simply can't afford to silence.
It's a little bit easier, and like you're very, very motivated, and like you're close to the finish line of getting back and being back, and then like it's not like I have a training camp to like build up to like playing my first game again. It's like, no, like you're tossed into game 30, like go try to play well. Like it's hard, like it really is. And I think it has given me really good perspective on like what a lot of my teammates and people that I've, teams I've been a part of, like certain people have had to go through. Like I've never been.
When Clark finally stepped back onto the court, all eyes were locked on her. Not just to see if she was healthy, but to watch how the referees would treat her after her bombshell comments. The arena buzzed with anticipation, and every whistle, or lack thereof, sent waves of reaction through the crowd. From the opening tip, the tension was obvious. The first time she drove into the lane and made contact without a foul call, the fans erupted in boos. Cameras immediately cut to her face, and there it was, the familiar smirk from her Sue Bird interview, only this time it was aimed directly at the officials. Her teammates fed off the energy. Every bucket she scored and every assist she dropped felt like a statement. The Fever bench was electric, sensing the game had become bigger than basketball. It was a public showdown between the league's brightest star and the very people she had called out. Midway through the second quarter, Clark drew a clear foul on a three-point attempt. The whistle blew and the arena exploded with cheers, marking not just a moment in the game, but a turning point in the ongoing conversation about fairness, respect, and accountability
It's been
in
so
the
hard
league.
because I've never really dealt with injury, and that's probably been a challenge in itself because when I first was feeling pain, I didn't understand it. I didn't know. I was like, am I just tight?
Do I need to
Am I just
stretch?
getting old? Do I need to hit a stretch? Do I need to get a little rubbed out? Do I need some icy hot? What's going on here? So I think it's been a balance of understanding my body.
Yeah.
And I know whether it's this year, whether it's next year, and even throughout my career, I'm going to be very.
Clark glanced toward the baseline referee, gave a slow nod, and mouthed something that had social media detectives lip-reading within minutes. By the end of the night, she'd put up a near triple-double and led the Fever to a hard-fought win. But the box score was only part of the story. This game was about power, who had it, who used it, and how one player had turned officiating into the hottest topic in the league. The morning after, the sports world woke up talking about one thing: Clark versus the whistle. Every highlight show opened with her smirk after that first no call. Every debate table was asking the same question. Had she just changed how refs call games in the WNBA? Clips of her nodding at the baseline ref went viral overnight, racking up millions of views with captions like "power move" and "she runs this now." Fans dissected every angle, slow-moed every glance, convinced she was sending coded messages with every look. ESPN analysts debated whether the officials were showing her more respect or making a point to demonstrate they weren't intimidated. Some said the game proved Clark had won. Others argued it showed the league doubling down to maintain control. Either way, the conversation wasn't dying, it was multiplying. Former players weighed in as well. Some backed her 100%, insisting stars should demand higher standards. Others warned that going head-to-head with referees was a dangerous game that could backfire once the playoffs arrived. Meanwhile, Clark stayed calm under the spotlight. In her post-game press conference, she brushed off the drama with a half smile, saying, "I just played the game. Everyone else can talk about the rest."
That's a PNW win! W's in the chat.
W's in the chat.
Oh my gosh. That one just aged me, but we're getting better. Shoot, good win. Win for win.
A dub is a dub, so keep on.
That single line became the quote of the day: cool, controlled, and dripping with quiet authority. By afternoon, the story had spilled beyond the sports world. Mainstream news outlets were framing it as a battle between player influence and institutional power. One thing was undeniable: Clark wasn't just playing basketball anymore. She was rewriting the league's balance of power, and everyone knew it. The WNBA found itself trapped. They couldn't risk alienating their brightest star, yet they also couldn't ignore that she just put their officiating under a harsh microscope. But here's the kicker. This was only the surface. The real story was far darker, about how the league's biggest star was truly being
We've
treated
had
on the
as
floor.
a team, because early in the season we were just so inconsistent, and if teams were to do that, we would normally lose those games, but it just shows that we're getting closer, we're trusting each other, and we're just, I think that's the biggest part, is trusting and knowing that we can win those games even if they.
Clark's rookie year and now her sophomore season have exposed a harsh truth. The physical punishment she's endured isn't just typical league hazing, it's survival in a system where every game felt like she was being hunted. Night after night, she faced contact and collisions that went far beyond standard defensive pressure, and the toll was painfully clear in her injury history. She didn't hold back describing it. The relentless full-court pressure, the traps, the angles cut off before she could even think about making a play. It wasn't just tough defense, it was systematic targeting, designed to wear her down and break her game. And it wasn't random. A closer look at how opponents guarded other rookies compared to Clark reveals a pattern that jumps off the page. This was deliberate.
WNBA this season to take care of business in a winning streak like this. What does that sort of say about how this team's coming together?
Yeah, Seattle's a great team, great team, and it's hard to play here. And so we knew that. We knew that they just came off kind of a bad loss against LA, and so they were hungry for a win. But for us, it's not about other teams. It's about our standard. It's about stacking the days. And I think that where our mental's at as a team and as individuals, we're in a really good spot. And it's not going to be easy moving forward, but I think today we stayed true to the scout. We trusted the offense. Kelsey has been having a hell of a season. She was a little bit off, but she facilitated for us offensively down the stretch, and it just shows that everyone has something to give, even if your scoring's not going to be there. But I don't know, I'm just proud of our team, and I'm proud.
Her deadly combination of deep shooting range and surgical passing made her the ultimate threat on the court. But instead of trying to simply outplay her, opposing teams focused on wearing her down physically, possession after possession. Clark openly admitted that the level of pounding she endured this season was unlike anything she'd ever experienced. "I've never been through anything like this," she said. For the first time, questions began to surface. Was this just the nature of basketball, or was it a coordinated effort to push the league's biggest star to the breaking point? The stark contrast between college-level protection and the WNBA's unforgiving physicality has never been more apparent than in Clark's injury struggles. Repeated soft tissue injuries, quad, groin, back, and back again, have turned her season into a grueling stop-and-go battle. And now everyone is forced to confront the question the league has long avoided. Are their stars truly being protected?